Good morning. I hope everybody had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend and that you had a chance to. I know most of you were probably out there running and gunning with the customers, but hopefully you got a chance to take at least a quick break and remember those who have given a lot to this country and also to spend a little bit of time with your family. I want to say thank you, and my way of saying thank you is to go to try to move through this very quickly. Overall, we're doing really well, guys. We continue to chip away at the things that we need to chip away at. We're moving forward. I want to hit a couple of numbers. I want to give you a couple of reminders about some things we have going on with USAA, and then the remainder of the time will be for you to go over the things that you want to at your branch. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with conversion. This slide shows whether or not we've moved our conversion forward or whether or not it's slid back from the end of the year last year. And you can see overwhelmingly we're doing really, really well, particularly with our buyer conversion. You can see our buyer conversion is significantly up in most of our branches. It's up significantly in Culpeper and Loudoun, both of those, and in La Plata. All three of those branches above 5% from where they were last year, so great job. On listing conversion, I do see a little bit of a trend where we've lost a little bit of our listing conversion. That's something that we've done very well over the competition. So let's keep our eye out on that. We've got a great changes to the listing presentation coming up, a full workshop on that. I know we're very close to delivering that, and that'll come out real soon. So let's keep our eye on the ball because we have slid just slightly there. But again, we've got several branches who have moved it really forward. Our Annapolis branch is 5% up so far this year. La Plata, 5% up so far this year. So both of those branches really moving it forward. Let's see how we're doing overall. So overall, for USAA in particular, our buyer conversion goal is at a minimum of 50%, and our seller conversion goal is a minimum of 30%. You can see our Alexandria, Culpeper, Gainesville, Loudoun, Lexington Park, and Woodbridge are all at or above those goals. And then on the listing conversion side, Alexandria, Centerville, Gainesville, Loudoun, La Plata, Lexington Park, McLean, and Woodbridge all at or above those goals. So take away what you need to from these slides. If you're below the line, take it and realize, hey, you know what? There's some branches that are really getting it done with the same pool of leads. Yes, different markets are different, and I do understand that, but we're all pretty close to each other. And if you see a branch that's way above you, then maybe there's an opportunity to think about some things differently, figure out a way where we can find one or two more customers for ourselves. Our service versus goal. This is fantastic. So what we're looking at here is how are we tracking in terms of our agent service is the yellow and our overall service is the grayish, right? So the minimum is 90%. That's what we need in order to get points. And you can see that we've got a lot of branches that are above it on the agent side and a lot of branches that are above it on the overall side. Couple of branches that need to pick up the pace a little bit there, but we've seen significant improvement from these branches, and they continue to move it forward. So keep chipping away. The message to this slide, it's one survey at a time. We need for every 9 great surveys we get back, one bad survey gets us just to the minimum of goal. So if you had a bad survey, I understand how hard it is to look at those things, and it's tough. You put a lot of time and energy. I know what you guys put in. Sometimes you get a survey and you just think, where is that coming from? But think about it. Think about why did that happen? Is there anything that we could learn? Even when we're talking about a survey where we think, you know what, I can't believe those people did that to me. Still, we got to take a look at it and think, what can we learn from that? And is there anything that we could have done better? Is there a way we could have communicated better? Because truthfully, guys, if they're taking the time to write it there and say that they didn't like it, they're probably taking the time to tell their friends about that as well. Vice versa, if they're taking their time to turn a survey in and say you're a 10 out of 10, they're probably telling other people about that too. So when and if you get a survey that misses the mark, please understand that it has a huge impact on your branch, on the company, and just take a look at it and think, hey, is there anything in here that I could learn? Hope that makes sense to everybody. Our return rate, we're doing very, very well. So we're looking for a minimum of 35% of the surveys return. You can see we've got a lot of branches that are way above that line. Centerville is at a 60% return rate, so that's an excellent, excellent job. And for our few branches that are not at the minimum, you guys are moving it up and putting a focus on it, and it's showing. So keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Honoring the source, you can see our gray line represents our title capture, and our yellow line represents our mortgage capture. What we're looking for is a 60% mortgage capture. We've got that in a couple of places. We have it in our Centerville office, we have it in our Waldorf office, and we have it in our Washington, D.C. office, and we have it in our Woodbridge office. On the title side, we're looking for 70%, and you can see we've got a whole bunch of offices: Alexandria, Annapolis, Centerville, Columbia, Fredericksburg, Washington, D.C., and Woodbridge. You are all above the line and really doing a great job, so thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about our mortgage numbers. They're overall very good, but we did have a tough month in USAA mortgage capture. In fact, we had the worst month we've ever had in the month of April. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why that happened. I'm going to be realistic about it, and I hope you'll be realistic back with me. We'll do that in a later slide. So here we are. We're talking about what's going on. So with USAA Mortgage, we've had some significant changes. They're changing their entire back-end system for how they process loans to something called Cadence. So if you hear Cadence, that's the name of their software. And Cadence is designed, A, to improve the experience, and B, to be compliant with all of the changes that are going to come up that we all know about for August 1st for the consumer protection. So there's a lot of things that are going to be happening. USAA has gone ahead of that, and it has created some issues. In Maryland, we couldn't do pre-approvals. We had that for a very, very short period of time in Virginia. Probably the biggest thing that it's done, guys, is that when you put a save the deal in and you really need to rush the time, USAA has had trouble meeting that over the last 30 to 60 days. And so there's a couple of things that we really want to be thinking about. And this is not just USAA. We've got August 1st coming up, and we're writing transactions. We're starting to write the transactions that's going to happen for. We need to anticipate that all of the banks are probably not going to be as far ahead of this as USAA is, and that there's going to be problems. So no matter which bank you're using, the more time that you can give, the more flexibility that you can give to your closing schedules right now. And I know it's tough. I know it's a competitive market, but this is something that you can use to talk to the selling agent and say, you know what, I can get it done in 35 days, but I don't think that's good for anybody. We got a lot of changes coming on August 1st. I think the banks are going to struggle with that. I'd like to give ourselves a flexibility of a 45-day closing. And you know what? I'll do everything I can to see if we can beat that. Look for the opportunities where you can find flexibility, and I know you can't all the time, but sometimes you can, where you can find flexibility for a longer closing time. That's going to benefit you right now. And it's not just the mortgage company, it's the title company that's going to have to figure out, hey, we got to switch documents, it's August 1st. There's some things that we have to do differently. So just really think about it and do everything that you can. But that's what's going on. That change has happened with USAA Mortgage. One of the biggest things that they've done, and they're going live with what's going to happen on August 1st for all banks, is an intent to proceed letter. In order for USAA to go ahead and start the processing and order any of the documentation that they need, the customer has to sign an intent to proceed letter. Currently, that's being mailed to the customer. And I've seen a couple of occasions where that's not getting returned and it's holding things up. Let's educate our buyer. Let them know that they're going to receive this letter and make sure that they've signed it. Follow up with them and say, did you go ahead and send your intent to proceed letter in? And let them know the importance of getting that done right away, that nobody is allowed under law to move forward with the processing of that loan until that intent to proceed letter comes back. So we should be live with them being able to send that. Part of the consumer protection requires that it's sent by mail. but USAA has worked it out where they'll also be able to send it electronically and have it docu-signed or e-signed. Don't know the exact date of when that's up and running. It's supposed to be as of now. Dave will be coming around to the office. He's probably in one of the offices, and he can tell you exactly, yep, it's up and running and it's live. But the big thing is whether they sign it electronically or they sign the paper copy of it, they've got to get that back to USAA in order for the loan to start moving forward, and it can cause delays if they don't. Last is a quick update that they have done a pilot where they had loan officers actually out in the marketplace, more of a traditional style loan officer where they're doing the originating, they're receiving the contract, they're collecting the W-2s and pay stubs, and they're actually submitting a lot of this into underwriting through the processor. What they've experienced was a 30% increase in cycle time and a 20% increase in member satisfaction. There are scheduled more loan officers to come to the marketplace. We are their #1 marketplace or their #2 marketplace. It's highly likely that we will see this. For right now, guys, it's business as usual. We have the loan officer model at NFCU, and you do a save the deal for NFCU. And you communicate and you do that through your office for NFCU. If and when USAA gets to a loan officer model, you're still going to communicate with relocation and with your branch leader exactly the same way, and it'll just be something different in terms of who you're doing that with. So with that said, I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to give you the rest of the time to talk with your branch leaders. Thank you. Have a fantastic June. This is usually a huge month. I want you to have a great success. We're working very hard. Try to get as many referrals out to you. Do a great job with them. Convert them. Provide the service. Do the right thing by getting the mortgages back to USAA and our preferred sources. And just be who you are. Thank you for all the improvement that we've had, and have a great day.